Here's another tip from Rolling Strong with insights to help you stay healthy on the road.
What's going on, Rolling Strong family? Coach Sergio here once again with our second part of our three-part series on macronutrients. Today specifically we're talking about carbohydrates, right? So carbohydrates have gotten a bad rap due to fad diets and mainstream influencers deeming it so. The truth is that carbohydrates are a vital and essential part of our diet. They are not only a catalyst for muscular strength and muscular growth, but they are a supreme source of energy, even from the day-to-day activities to the most extreme training sessions. So let's dive in. The biggest question always is good carbs, bad carbs, what's the difference? So essentially, carbohydrates go by a case-by-case basis, essentially going down to the person, level of activity, what their daily life is like, and how their body reacts to certain nutrients. So you really can't, separate the both without really diving into what it is scientifically. Simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are short strings of sugar molecules that produce a spike in glucose that give you a short-term energy, right? Which we call like a sugar rush. Complex carbohydrates are longer chains of sugar molecules that give you a more long-lasting elevation of energy. So within each group, they have good and bad, right? And so that's kind of what we're going to here to separate, essentially. So on my right here, we have some examples of some good complex carbohydrates, meaning things that come from whole grain, right? So we have some oats, we have some seeds. Chia seeds would be the best. We have whole grain bread, right? Barley and quinoa. Now, bad examples of complex carbohydrate would be white flour, would be cornmeal, white bread, white rice, essentially. As you can see, these are kind of some of the bad examples on my left. We have some white rice, some cereal, some fruit juices, some pancake syrup, and some chocolate. So, bad sources of carbohydrates there. Now, simple carbohydrates, when broken down, the good source here would be mainly from fruits and vegetables, right? Like we want to say is like we got some berries and strawberries back here, grapefruit, apples. We got bell peppers, lentils, and spaghetti, some zucchini and squash. Bad examples of, simple carbohydrates would be candy, sugary drinks like the fruit juice, right? Syrups, table sugar, and sodas, and anything that has added sugar, like any baked goods. Knowing this is kind of how we kind of formulate whatever we need to be eating, essentially, right? And how much is determined, once again, by the activity level of specific people. Now, usually what we do is take a person, based on their activity level, multiply that by the times of carbohydrate grams they need for the total in the day. So how it usually goes is you take the amount in kilos that a person weighs, right? And then you multiply that by a certain number, and that's how you get your total. So let's say somebody that does very minimal exercise per day, let's say sedentary lifestyle, so you take their body weight in kilos, you multiply that by 3 grams, right? And that's going to be the total amount of carbohydrates they need for the day. Someone that's lightly active, you're going to take kilograms in weight, 6 grams total carbs. Moderately active would be kilogram in weight times 9 grams of carbohydrates, and that's total at the end. Lastly, someone that's very, very active would have kilos in weight times 12 grams per kilo equals their total carbohydrate intake for the day. Now, knowing this is somehow we structure our diets, right? So you'll see this once again within the nutrition portion of our app. You'll see broken down with each gauge. Specifically on the carbohydrates, you're always going to see there's going to be a little bit more than anything else. So make sure that you're getting a great source of carbohydrates like we just talked about over here, trying to refrain from these bad carbohydrates and the simple and complex areas, and enjoy what you can eat. Thanks guys, I hope this helps out.
We're glad to offer these podcasts, and we hope you find them useful. At Rolling Strong, we're here to help.